Good day, everyone. We're back again with another episode, and I'm so excited for you guys to meet my next guest, which is my brother Judah. This relationship runs very deep. He used to do push-ups on my chest when I was a kid, and we used to hate that. I'm just gonna say that.
You know,
It was personal.
I actually miss that, Doug.
I want to talk to Pinky about that. What do you miss about that?
Like even at church, there's some kids when they're playing around with me,
Kids at church?
and I just
Double sin.
it's called missing you guys. Doug, CPR.
Oh my god.
You telling me y'all don't miss CPR?
We're gonna give you first aid lessons first of all, so you understand the difference between what you did, which was trauma, and what was really happening. So, what problems were you dealing with back then? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm very excited to have you here.
Dude.
And so
Finally,
initially this was supposed to run like in January, and it's so funny, it's like in April now.
10%.
And by the time you guys see this, it will be like mid-May or something crazy like that. So some bucks had to be kicked it, yeah. And then some things had to happen, and I'm grateful for it, because now I came back with a focus and a bigger bang. But I'm more excited to hear about you.
Wow.
And let's hear about Judah.
Judah. Oh, dude. So
He's a player. Let's start there.
whoa.
I'm kidding. I'm his sister.
I rebuke that spirit.
First of all.
Nah, listen. Actually, about that, because it is in one of my bios. The one thing I've been excited about that's happened in my week was that I was sharing about that past. That
Exposing
I
yourself.
used to play in the streets, yeah. And Doug, this lady's like, you don't strike me as. For the first time, like, I've received that, Doug. You don't strike me as. You know, so...
How to talk to this lady.
Listen, let me put you on stats.
Okay.
I've been single for almost a year now. By choice and by cultivation.
That's beautiful.
And, Doug, I want to get married. I don't want to...
It is so crazy. Like, I'm getting guests who keep... We've reached this stage of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that we're flowing in a certain way. And we are finally getting to that stage of flowing in that way. And it's beautiful to see young people want to get into that mode of, I want to get married now. I'm preparing myself for the next person. And how's that been, that preparation?
I'm preparing myself. I'm preparing myself, dude. Like, I just getting to be more intentional, getting to know myself. That's also how the podcast comes into play, which we'll get into. But I'm really enjoying it. I never thought I would. And actually enjoying the fact that I get to face the challenges I didn't want to face. Like, I get into relationships, or I don't stay alone because I'm avoiding loneliness. But now having to sit with those feelings coming around, it's like, you know what, you hear, I need to understand why and where this stems from. So yeah, Doug, but really to come back to Judah, to Chega. You know, a kid with a big heart. A kid with a big heart, you know this, as my sister. As my sister through not only friendship, but through actual formal family at a point. And before that, we weren't brother and sister before. Yes, we were.
We were practically, which was so easy for us. Okay, let's get back to the basics first before we jump into that type of stuff. But just to give us a little bit of a background. You and I met in church, right? And that was back at City Hill, when we were all going to City Hill.
Yeah, it's like 08, 09.
Yeah. So, and it was a proper like youth back in the day, leading together back then. And if you think of that transition from then till now, oh my goodness. But more than anything, the important part was the transition between that and then hearing you guys are going to be our next foster family, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm very, very interested to hear the conversation that happened when you guys got told that you're going to be part of us foster siblings, if I can say that.
Actually, thanks for taking me back there, dude. Like, is that growing up? There's so many conversations now you actually forget about. But yeah, so this is when 2014. So my background with my family, we've always loved a big family. From a young age, from when I was 10, that was the first time I wanted a bigger family, not only by factory, by the parents, but by adoption even.
Yeah.
Tried to adopt my best friend at the time,
Yeah.
Brian.
Okay.
We tried to adopt him. I begged my parents. I begged my parents till they were convinced that they were like, actually, let's start looking into it. And when we started getting the paperwork and everything had established, and he got taken into the system there, I was so bummed. I was so bummed. But ever since, still wanted a bigger family, wanted to adopt. Even for the longest of times growing up, I want to get married, have my children, but I want to adopt as well.
Okay.
I always want to adopt.
That's crazy. Whoa, okay.
Yeah, Doug.
That's beautiful to hear. I'm not gonna lie, because a lot of people are very fixated on the idea of, especially black culture. Let's be very honest. We're very fixated of, if it doesn't come from our blood, we're very,
Very
not
hostile
everyone.
towards
I'm just
it.
saying, but yes,
Yeah.
yeah. We want something that comes from the blood directly. It must be an inheritance,
Yeah. It's become a distorted pride, I think, in our culture and our people. But yeah, dude, I then we around 2011, we'd signed up to be foster parent. My parents had signed up to be foster parents with, and that's when we became relief parents. Remember the relief parents period where
that season.
when your parents went on holiday for a weekend, we came and stayed with you guys. Best times of my life as well, dude. And then they said, nah, it's not gonna happen. They weren't taking in more. They weren't looking to add more children to the organization, and so we were kind of just relief parents.
Yeah.
And then by the turn of events in 2014, in scrambling to resuscitate whatever had broken at that time, they approached us like, can you take over? So it wasn't even a, hey, we thinking of, since you guys wanted to get on the program, we're thinking of actually involving you into getting you, we looking for more children. It wasn't that. It was a, can you step in to help?
Yeah.
That's how it actually first came about, and we were more than excited. But the conversation as well, to be vulnerable, was also coming around from what my family needed. We were going through our own struggles in terms of accommodation. We wanted our own home and everything, and this played a role in that being an opportunity. I think in retrospect now, it was God calling us to a home, but in the chaos of how everything happened, we didn't get to see that. Because Doug, when we came in, it was all out war at home. You remember the first few months. I'm still mad that I've had to transition from one family into another unwillingly.
That was my fourth family.
You know,
for me.
Exactly.
But that was
everyone else's second family.
Yeah.
And so you can see all the tears from each and every aspect.
The trauma in everyone else
You know
was
what I
just
mean?
playing against. I get you.
And so we're coming in there with servant hearts first, and you've got this lady who all she knows how to do is be a mother. So she's trying to be a mother, and it's hurting her that she's having to do damage control, which she's never done.
Yeah.
She also has sons who have never been troublesome to her, so she's never had to deal with serious conflict. So it really got to mom. Like it really strained her that, hey, a few months ago, guys, we were coming to the house and it was all dandy. Everyone was happy to see us and everything, but now that we are the family,
it's a problem.
It's a problem.
Oh my goodness.
And I think to an extent, of which I want to pick your brain about, I think it also came with a lot of the children, there was what, 7 of us,
Yeah.
nine of us as a whole,
Together, yeah.
5 of you guys. I think there was a good percentage of some of my sisters being disappointed that the parents aren't white anymore.
Oh no, that for me would have never even affected me.
Might have not struck you, but I think that some of the resistance from the others, like they know who they are, because I'm willing to have the conversation with them. But there was also that, Uguti, the
goodness.
culture shift now is that I don't have this profile to my white friends, to my white culture, that my parent was white to.
Which is a bit stupid if you think about it a little bit. And maybe I'm
dangerous.
just taking it over. But I'm literally saying it's a bit stupid because, how do I say this? It's a bit backwards. There's a huge part of me that's still learning about my own culture till today. And just having you guys step in for those couple of years helped me as a person grow. Because, having white parents and the hair, the culture. You know, I only learned how it was beautiful after I moved out of Whitehall. Not moved out of, after I moved into a school that understood black culture, which was Hillcrest High. Before that, I thought I was ugly. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm not skinny and tall. Straightforward.
The black community watching Princess coconutting over here, they like, the hell she mean she ain't beautiful.
You see? So that misleading, that like, you see what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that misidentification went so deep and so wrong on so many levels. It's so hard to navigate till today. But I think the most important thing out of that conversation was the servant heart that came into it.
Yeah.
And it was so sad to watch it become a hostility situation.
Yeah.
And not by choice, but because of other people's decisions that were actually higher than even all of us.
Doug.
The cards were on the table and somebody else was playing them. We weren't part of the game, but we were the faces of the cards.
And I think I learned it from the family, but in my character, I have this, let's make the best out of what we got. The things we can't change, it's fine. That's the reality. The people playing the cards aren't us. Yeah. But how then do we create the harmony here? How do we cultivate the love over here? Because that's another thing I also started to notice. I saw the key roles that each person started playing on my side of the family, in terms of, especially amongst the kids, amongst me, Marvin became the peace in the house. Like, it seemed when everything was going crazy, everyone would pull up to chill with Marvin and be okay. Yeah. You know, you chill with Marvin, you can show up at the dinner table somehow. You know, and me, you've got me just out here like, yo guys, I really couldn't care about your drama. If I'm bickering with you, I'm gonna bicker with you. If I'm vibing with you, I'm gonna vibe with you. If I understand you're going through a rough time, I'm gonna come tell you to buck up, you know. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you're not gonna ruin my experience of what I've always wanted. Yeah. I've always wanted a big family and sisters and brothers. And so at the same time, it's an excitement for me because I'm getting to argue with my sisters. I'm getting to argue with my family members. Marvin, we've got an 8-year gap. And you remember how peaceful Marvin was. He was a so quiet character, but that was lovely about him. But it wasn't the adventurous time that I might have envisioned. But he joined that adventure by us just operating as, hey, me, I don't care what anyone says. I don't care who go to Pomege or you transferred with who, or you feel that you relate more with this family, or I am your brother. Yeah. You know? And whatever it was, because I'm not saying like it was like something I knew that I'm doing, but whatever it was, that's what I cherished in growing with you guys. And that, look at us now. Because as soon as the system crashed, that could have easily meant like, oh guys, foster program's over. I'll say you know Swami. I say born, circles now, you know. Yeah. But no, I did come to the family Emolwane. Yeah. We had those lit nights.
He's no longer allowed to come back for a second episode. That's all he's got to say. Anyway.
You know, yeah. I did go see my other sister's family. Tracy and I were Durban.
Yeah.
I traveled Durban without making plans, without saying I'll see you next week. Without we were just in the same environment all the time somehow. Somewhere in the middle of the night, eventually I knew would see where I am. I'm gonna see my sister.
Yeah.
But it's been so amazing to see that, and you guys have given me so much character. As much as I put you guys on, a lot of my dating career when I had a dating career. Yeah, you guys were archetypes. Like I'd be like, she reminds me of my sister. I know how I deal with my sister when people get like this.
So it did help you a little bit with I don't want to say navigating, but navigating even the dating space, the friendship space, whatever.
Being able to talk freely and openly with a girl. Okay.
Character development.
Yeah, without like cropping myself to make my conversation polite or knowing I knew when to be polite, I knew when to be rude or not aggressive in a sense of like I'm attacking you, but to be stern with my tone. Why? Because I had sisters, something I didn't think I would it would help me in that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, even put the bar up that much more, and now it's even.
Did it make it easier for you? Yes, I know you came into a hostile, very busy season of all of our lives. And I've got mine, my other siblings have got theirs, and I won't dive into theirs. I'll dive into mine personally. But did it make it easier to transition into being my brother as part of the family that was, let's say, hosting or adopting us at that point? Because we knew each other, we had a relationship prior. Didn't any part of that make it easier?
Naturally, yes. But either way, I think the circumstance didn't matter because of my dream. Okay. Because of my family's dream as well, because I inherited that from my parents. Because you noticed even there was 9 of us as a family, but in a household during the week there was probably about 17 of us, because I also had my friends over.
Yeah, I was about to say everybody had their own little friend. I had my Jade, you had your Alien. People had everybody had their
Mom
friend.
always says I have a lot of sons and daughters because there's people who have lived with me. Where it's just like this friend is always here. He even comes to the room like, hey man, you mind if I go grab one? So yeah, it did make it easier, but it didn't matter because of the dream. So like and also like I still have our letters, bro, when we were pen pals.
My goodness. Yeah. Okay, now this is an interesting one because we were pen pals prior to us even being together as adopted siblings. Yeah. We were each other's comfort space when it came to navigating through going through teenagehood, if I can say that, that stage of our lives. But more than anything, when you are a Christian in that stage, we actually had knowledge beyond people who are adults even today. Like, it was very weird, and you need someone who's going to keep you intact with certain things, and that's crazy. I don't even know what I want to sounded like.
It was amazing. Hey, my brother in Christ.
See, oh my goodness.
But the lovely thing about it as well, I always look at it. I always read them every now and then, because I'm just like I'm seeing this people we were then, dude. Would see, we were updating each other about our well-being, our mental space, our physical space, our crushes, our struggles, the friends who are giving us a hard time, things we want help with. We were healthier then. I'll tell you that much. Like, we were so much healthier. We scrang of it.
I wouldn't say that, but anyway. Listen, if there's one thing I live by, being an older sister, I have overachieved for my younger sister. And I think that to some extent, I've been the enemy and the frenemy at the same time over the years, because it's shown, like, you're like, you become prefect and the following sibling is not, and it's like, You know what people never realized? I was escaping home. I was escaping demons. And people, other people think they think I was overachieving. I was escaping so many demons. Like, till today, I don't actually understand how I made.
Now that you say that, I do remember the conversations we'd have around home.
Yeah.
Especially with that other name.
Yeah.
I remember that other name.
Very rough.
To think, Doug, Uguti, all that time, because now even when you're asking me like what was the conversation with the rents at home and all these things, even with Uma, those conversations we're only having them now, where she's like, dude, I don't remember half the things that were happening at because this is where I was. You know, similarly to what you're saying of like Uti, everyone was seeing this overachiever when you were busy pulling off your biggest escapes. You know, and I think of that Uti in the whole process. As you can see, I was someone who was living the dream he always wanted. But here you also are, and I wasn't too aware. Yeah, I wasn't too aware of actually like what were you going through at that time, at that transition, because you just transitioned into this family. What, a matter of months or
Months, we get told dad's got cancer. Then within 4 months of that, he passed away. Dude. So that was my grade 11 year. But then I also just made my biological family at that point, and my first brother died by the time I was writing trials, and a second brother, my biological brother's second brother died. So the first one was poisoned by his wife. The second one committed suicide by the time I was writing finals. So you living your dream and I'm busy fighting major demons. At that time, I'm prefect, I'm head sabi, and in my unit, like everybody else is seeing this. Like you seem like you're pumping, but in reality, they're walking past someone who's a zombie. That's why I believe in trauma blanking. So if you ask me certain things about that stage of my life, I've blanked out. Not because I've blanked out, it's because there's actually so much trauma pulling from those things. I've blanked them out. You know what I'm saying? So beyond certain points in my life, I blank out a little bit. And it's going to sound so terrible, but I do remember stuff like, oh my gosh, movie nights and date nights with our family. And the first time I tasted wine and mom and dad were like, oh, your eyes always tell us when you're drunk. Your eyes look this small, princess. You can't do that. So I knew I could never hide alcohol. So there's some real good moments, but also it was also easier for me going into your family because I knew you. Yeah. Marv, not so much. I think even over the years, we didn't create that repertoire, but that's because I had it with you. I think that's why it was easier. Same with mom, and mom and I even had like a similar, I'm a God's girl, that's who I'll be, with the top of my head, to the teeth of my
Jamie
teeth.
Grace.
Yes.
She still reminds me about that girl today.
You see? So, and that was, you see, if I think of mom, that's all I can think of. Like literally, she used to always make me feel so good about myself. By singing those things. She probably doesn't even realize it till today when she watches us, yay. But
yeah. And I think some conversations to have with some of what you're sharing right now, she can relate 100% because she also was in that void for that time, But yeah, Doug, I think that sums up a bit of our journey. Like I suck at describing myself because I really am within who I'm around. In that my essence thrives, my authenticity thrives by really seeing it in our journey, in our experiences. So yeah, our journey, our experience, and seeing who Judah is through that lens. Judah's a big brother. Because also coming into the family, I was the firstborn when there was 2 of us. I was the firstborn when there was 7 of us. Yeah. So it was kind of like, yeah, I really am called to this as even a strength in my life to be the brother that's just there for you, that's listening to you, that understands you, and it doesn't have to be a physical, a statistically visible set of results of that. I've been there with you. I've been with you through many trials and tribulations and many times of joy. Yeah. What a way to describe myself.
I know, that's so crazy. Also, you know what? It's crazier that you're remembering those letters. I'm like, actually, our relationship goes further than what I had as a memory. Imagine. Because
Since we
in my
were
head,
13, bro.
yeah. Oh, that's over 10 years. That's like pushing
Way
it
over
close to
10
20.
years. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so exciting though.
You know what I
You
mean?
know what you like? We actually more siblings than other people who are siblings out there at this point. You know what I'm
Doug,
like?
I go
Real
like
cutie.
yeah. There's hardly a description I have of like when I talk in stories or share stories of my life. It's never like my adopted sister or my foster sister who came from no my sister, Doug, because like I'm black, girl.
Yeah,
you know there's none of this. This is my second cousin, third cousin. I'm a cousin.
Yeah.
This is my sister. It's not my stepsister or what. This is Swami.
I have such a deep question for you. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is a bit of a personal one. We came into the family as you don't look at it as an adopted family, and at some point there was a bit of a cross relationship between biological family of yours and our family, which was foster.
Mm-hmm.
In my eyes, whoever's adopted me, fostered me over the years, I've always looked at them as my family.
Mm-hmm.
So if I come across another Gama on the streets, I am out there like, yeah, this is my brother, this is my sister. If it's a Mkize, same WhatsApp group. If your surname is Mkize, you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel to you when that cross relationship happened? I asked that because, yeah, I want to hear that.
I'm a fighter of like a system or a norm, and just challenging it out of thought first. Would see like, why does it have to be like this? I think my frustration was the forced co-parenting that was taking place, in that my biological family went from there was no one around to tell you how to raise children. Now there's someone on your back telling you, you can't shout at the kid like that, or you gotta let them have you gotta to coming into a place where kids have an altercation with mom or dad doesn't have to end here. I can take it to a board.
Someone else, yeah.
I can go contest. I can threaten to have you guys removed as parents or as a family. So that I think that would frustrate me in terms of like all the functions. I don't like functions. I'll bleep the name up if I need to, but
literally my face was like, oh my goodness, did we just do that? Okay, but it's fine, yeah.
I never wanted to go to the functions out of Uguti. Why? Ninzini.
Yeah.
So it was really a thing of like, why are you trying to micromanage something I know we can do? Whether we do it badly or do it well, why is the foster system? Yes, they have to be careful because some parents may in turn abuse children that they are responsible for. But you tested the waters, you saw the roots. We've been with you guys for 4 years, and now you're giving the kids this access. This is what's killing the conversation with the children in the house, is because they feel if they don't have to talk to you directly. They can talk to someone else who will hear them out, and because it's their job, they're gonna have to bring out something. And then now there's these pressures, and it's like, now I feel like I'm in a reality TV show of a home. I'm being told, no, you can't do this too much, or you can't
Don't do that.
you know. So it was frustrating, and I think I did suppress it because in many other rooms since then, I think if a similar type of system shows up, I get very resistant.
Oh man.
But yeah, you were about to get into the developing and
the
video.
growing. Yeah. The growing, the developing. Since that stage, you've got into videography and you've grown with it. First of all, we need to get back to the fact that we were in it from the time you were at church. And that was good 2014 still, when they put you back in the sound desk and you're working with other allies, which I won't mention names, otherwise they'll figure out the churches and stuff.
Yeah, but, Doug, you know what it is? They're all just a painting in a picture. And if they think they can come alive in that painting, they're wrong. You know what I mean?
Get you, yeah.
I think that's what I've learned within the space of just knowing that these conversations are as real as you'll have them when you are with us in person. But yeah, the videography, dude, it actually from childhood, you know, I always thought as an artist, when I watch these artists talk about like, yo, dude, so when did the music start? He's like, oh, you know, 7, and you're like, 7, what the hell you know about rapping at 7?
At
But
7, yeah.
you see, you know, but actually when I look at the timeline that puts me where I'm at now, since a kid I've always been into drama naturally. Plays, I was surprising people in the room like, yo, this nigga reading his lines real good. How? Does he go to classes? So being on stage and liking the scenes, I've always been obsessed with things like that. In on Road to 27, actually, when I talked to mom and we going down through the timelines, I realized that even in grade 11, 10, I was dabbling around media based things, making dance videos before, you know, like if I became a famous dancer, guys, actually, I would have posted up my videos that I started this video trends thing with these people that we used to crump like on video on our E250s record there, and you can see us still trying to get the choreography right on set, like, because we used to think like, yo, if I press stop now, like, it's all over. So you come closer, Doug, you missed a step. But I was always in some form of media. Even how I'd play in the imaginary world, just my imagination as a kid was always a scene. I was pulling off a scene because I know I'm not that character, but I'd always, like, you know, randomly envision myself being like a hobo that became an FBI agent. You know, crazy things like that. To wanting to see that come alive in everything I get involved in. So when I started getting involved in sound, I started seeing the design of sound and loving the design of sound. So like getting into mixing and whatnot, not realizing that I was being prepared. God was preparing me for the talent He's put in me and the gift He's giving me to use as a gift for others, which brings us to the space. But how my videography career itself started, I prayed in 2022. I hadn't worked for a year since COVID and life. You remember that life? Yeah. 2020.
We won't dive into that.
No, we can never.
Might start exposing names, keying cards. Anyway,
some traumas are for therapy. And they'll stay in therapy, Doug.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
But like, I prayed. I said, God, I want a job in media that pays a stable income. You pick the name. Forgot about that prayer. I think 3 months later, homie's like, yo, how'd you like a media job? With the standard pay, a fee I hadn't yet reached in my career of work. So I'm like, oh, stability, media.
Hello.
And there's the name. A name I didn't expect to work in, a company I didn't expect needed such a department. Above that too, I'm starting that department. I'm creating that department. So I'm creating the studio within this company. So I'm this kid dealing with inferiority as well. Kind of like, how did I get here? I'm in a room, and I'm based in the IT space. I'm in a room full of graduates on graduates, geeks, you know, with the technology. They probably know the technology I use better than I do. Yeah. What am I gonna do here? My videos, even the video I got picked to get asked this, was one of the just to me the most basic thing. Like, if I had to find that video and show you, you'd be like, wait, for that company telling me you got hired because of this. And it's that thing of God's favor. It wasn't me. I just asked him, and he said, well, yes. And I just see that that's the direction he wanted me to go in. So learning that I'm asking God what he actually wants from me, and to officiate and build my faith, I have to ask. And so 2 years in now of videography, on a professional level, and now also because I was developing a studio, I was starting up a studio and saying what it would actually do. It came around the time as well I was starting Umsalu Media. And that I want to build a media company that serves the people in this way. In recording what we're doing right now, podcasting, filming, actual films. I want to cultivate Durban. I want if you want to do, if you're a drama student, instead of saving up 5,000 rand to go try spend a few nights in Joburg, you have a template you can send ahead of you of your monologues recorded cinematically. Well, the best, how can we serve you better? It's a slogan under Umsalu Media House that I adopted from the lifestyle I live. Now I'm putting out everything. That's no man. And that's my partner in crime on Road to 27. That's the initiative he pushes. That's no man. How can I serve you better? And that's kind of essentially. Thanks. And so and so all of that going into videography even became less of a title or meaning for me because I'm walking in my purpose. It doesn't
so
feel
it's
like
not like that thing of don't wake up to a job every day, wake up to a blessing, and you won't even feel like you're doing the job.
I'm waking up to a blessing, Doug. Don't mean it don't stress me out. It don't mean I don't want to go sometimes. Just voicing it out there. Sorry, that was a bit of an explosion.
No, I'm so excited. Like let's invite our friend because I think it's his time.
Yeah,
it's time to shine because we're diving into the space now.
Now we're getting into 27.
We're getting into
Mr. Kilo.